It was silly, ridiculous, a waste of time. They didn't want. That's why they were so successful. That's why they got away.
I've made a living in very dangerous.
Integrated home with all sides.
Dianne Andrews in black and white.
And lifers get one opportunity to go in front of the clemency board after 15 years. And my time had come. And so I said, I'm going to file. I'm going to file actual innocence.
Yeah.
And every single person told me not to do that.
Every lawyer.
Every
that you
lawyer.
talk to.
Most of every person that I know said that that is not a great idea.
I've known Justin's family for a little over 15 years now. I've grown to know about him over those years, and I know the family upbringing, and I've actually met Justin 5 years ago. And my life has never been the same since I've met Justin, just to be perfectly honest with you. I've seen him, as well as his mother, have seen numerous individuals approach us during visits, just declaring how much of an impact and influential person Justin has been in their lives, in their loved ones' lives. She actually brought a card that was signed by an entire camp that was mailed to her, just showing gratitude for Justin being in their lives while they've been while incarcerated. Mickey has been visiting every year, multiple times throughout his incarceration from day one. I have been visiting Justin at least twice a month prior to COVID for the past 5 years. I speak with him every day, and he's just a pillar, not only to my life, but also the numerous family members that are included in his family. Honestly, Justin is the strongest person that I know. To be able to accomplish and to achieve all that he's achieved in the past 17 and a half years in a seemingly hopeless position, I can't think of anyone that is stronger than he is. He's not only a pillar in his family's life, but he's also a pillar in my own family's life. My father,
I've been here almost 28 years in the church. I've been coming to Angola now for 11 years. Actually, Chaplain Rents, who I know would have spoken for Justin today, except he's passed on in the last month, and he died suddenly. He was one of my mentors. He's the very reason that I am at Angola right now, ministering. I've known Brother Justin for 5 years. Brother Justin has been pastoring the church now. We've been working with him over the last 3.5 years as the pastor there. Our Louisiana District Assemblies of God have honored Justin, gave him a certificate, gave him a plaque for the church that we've started there. One of the youngest pastors of any of the ministries in Angola. I've met several of the pastors who are working in all the different camps in Angola over the last 11 years. And I asked them about Justin, and they, all of them without exception, said he was a for real man. He was what he pretended to be out front. He was in private, that he wasn't running no game on anybody. And one of the greatest recommendations that I've ever heard from anybody, from my mentor, Jim Rents, he said that Justin Singleton was the finest young man he's ever worked with in his life. And I believe that we have a generation that needs to hear what he has to say. Young men and young women that need to know that there is hope after mistakes. Every one of us have made mistakes, not maybe as big as some others, but all of us have needed somebody to believe in us and give us hope. And I believe that Justin has proven, just listening to Brother Rochelle as he said all the things that Justin has accomplished and all the things that he's done. I believe if anybody's ever deserved a second chance, it's that man right there.
Good afternoon. I've tried both of these cases. I tried Justin Singleton and I tried Joseph Gilroy. I've listened to all the people speaking on his behalf. I have to commend him for all the things he's done, all his accomplishments. But having attended one of these hearings before, one of the comments that was always made was, you have to acknowledge your guilt. In his application, he does not acknowledge his guilt. He said he didn't know anything about it. The defendant, Justin Singleton in this case, got his mother to testify that a report from somebody who lived right down the road, there was on the north side of the highway runs east and west. It's in a rural area. And the railroad track, which parallels that highway, is on the north side. The store was on the south side. And at noon, that yellow Impala turned into someone's driveway, turned around, and parked for 20 or 30 minutes on the railroad track. The gentleman who lived in that trailer said he couldn't see who it was, but there were two individuals. He described the yellow Impala, and he noted that it did not have a license plate. The defendant's mother took the stand and said it couldn't be Justin in that car because he was sitting at the table with me and we were watching some local TV program on one of the local channels. I asked her, "Do you talk to your son on a cell phone?" She said, "Well, of course not. If he's sitting in the room with me, I would not do that." We retrieved the defendant's cell phone from the jail and turned it on. And oddly enough, at the exact time she was very precise that this program that she was watching, and I can't remember the name of it, was on from, let's say, 12:30 to 1 o'clock. And guess what? There was a cell phone call from Justin Singleton's phone to his mother's phone. It's an indication that Guillory, who testified at his trial that he didn't know what was going to happen, never could establish who actually fired the shot. Now, my personal opinion was that the defendant, Singleton, was the person because Guillory was considerably shorter. Mr. Singleton is quite tall. And the bullets, two, that went into the skull of Mr. Lejeune were at close. In fact, when they just thought there was one shot, when they did the autopsy, they discovered that actually one of the bullets had exited from the nose of Mr. Lejeune. And the thing that was interesting about that autopsy was that the forensic pathologist testified that they were both parallel. They went from the back of the head and they went straight through his nose. If Mr. Guillory had fired the shot, he'd had to reach up. Mr. Singleton was such a height that he could make it, but that's all we had. It said that based on the jurisprudence that this Louisiana Supreme Court has rendered in cases like this, that these kinds of affidavits are worthless and not to be relied on in any kind of way to determine the facts of the case. Said that and I think that's generally accepted, that acceptance of guilt, culpability, acknowledgement of guilt, and accepting responsibility for actions is necessary. And I think it's missing. And so, based on my knowledge of the facts, deduced under oath on two separate occasions, and confirmed by two separate juries of the peers of this defendant, I have to say that I don't think the first step is taken. And I certainly don't think, under the circumstances in this case, that clemency at this point is deserved, earned, or necessary.
But I understand and I realize that it's not all about my accomplishments and it's not all about the things that I've done. I understand the most important moment in my life is this moment right here. This moment, and everything that I've done and everything that I'm continuing to do has led to this moment. And despite my circumstances and despite my claim of factual innocence, the state of Louisiana did find me guilty of the crime of second-degree murder. And I accept that. And I'm not here fighting for innocence. I am here begging for mercy. And I pray that this board would find it in your hearts to grant me the opportunity to be the man in society that I have proven to be while here in prison. And I just want you to know I really appreciate this moment. Thank you, and may God bless you.
All right, thank you. So we'll be in executive session to discuss confidential matters. We'll be back momentarily. Thank you. All right, we're back in regular session, and is everybody here? Yeah, we're prepared to vote. We'll start off with Mr. Roche.
To commute his sentence to time served.
I'm on a commuted sentence to 99 years, parole eligible after serving 25 years.
I am willing to commute your sentence to 99 years and make you parole eligible after serving 20 years.
My vote is to recommend to the governor that your sentence be commuted to 99 years and that you be parole eligible after serving 20 years.
Mr. Singleton, you've done, I want to congratulate you on your educational achievements. I want to thank you for the service you provide to your fellows in your own community, your fellow offenders. I too will vote favorably to commute your sentence to 99 years with parole eligibility after serving 20. So you've got a unanimous favorable vote, but the majority is that your sentence be commuted to 99 years with parole eligibility after 20. So that is the recommendation we'll make on your behalf to Governor Edwards.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you very much, board. Thank you.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you, ma'am.
Hello, this is Fuji Totes. I'm making a little video for you to see how the pillow works with the doggy in it. Even with all that in the bottom, he can still lay here and feel nothing. You see him sitting down on it, he can still do that with all the things in there.
Welcome back for the second part of this Triumph Over Tragedy show with Justin Singleton. Justin, tell us about your daughter. She was 1 year old when on March 4, 2003. She was a year old, right?
Yeah, she was 1.
And now she's?
Now she's 24. She was 21 when I was released.
21 when you were released. So it's 2003, so she's 22, huh?
Well, she was making 20.
23.
I got released right before
okay.
she
Yeah.
was 22.
Okay.
Yes.
Now, did you have communication with her while you were in prison? Did her mother bring her up there to see you?
Well, for the most part, so my daughter lives out of state. So her mother had brought her up there a couple of times when I was in the parish. And, you know, when you're young, it's hard for a child to understand the situation.
Yeah.
And I'm not, I wasn't thinking that I was going to be incarcerated for the rest, of her
childhood. And life.
And so her mother and I had made a decision to just kind of tell her, hey, look, just tell her I'm at work, and that worked for a little while. And I remember one of her birthdays was coming up. I think it was her third.
Did her mother remarry?
No. Her mother and I were never married. And her mother, her third birthday, fourth birthday was coming up, and I talked to her and was on the phone with her. And she just started naming this laundry list of stuff that she wanted for her birthday. Oh. I want this, I want that, I want that. And I was like, well, how do you expect me to afford all of that? And she said, Daddy, you're rich. I said, why would you think I'm rich? She says, because you've been at work a long time.
She was smart, yeah. Right. Every time she asked your mama about it, he's at work.
Right.
Yeah, he ought to have a lot of money, mama.
And so I did what any great father would do. I said, let me talk to your mama.
Yeah.
And so we made a decision to kind of tell her where I was at that time. And she said something that was so profound, and it changed the direction of my life. So when we finally told her where I was, she said, well, can I ask you a question? I was like, yes.
Now, how old is she?
She was 4.
Wow.
And I said, yes, you can ask me a question. And she says, what? I said, what? She says, when is God going to let you out of jail?
She did. So her mother was a godly person. She went to church?
Not necessarily a godly person, but, she went to church. And, her grandparents are great individuals. But, when you're a child, I think God speaks to children differently than he speaks to adults.
Yeah.
Tainted adults.
Yeah.
And children have a better line. you know? And when she
But
said
she
that,
was your girlfriend, the mother, her mother was your girlfriend. You all
Yes.
just dated a little bit.
Right.
Yeah.
um,
Now, how are you today? How's the relationship with her today?
great, you know, she's in school.
She's in college?
Yeah, she wants to be a chef.
Oh, wow.
And, you know, we have a great relationship. You know, I've managed to see her a few times since I've been home. Again,
Right.
she's still out of state.
Right.
We talk regularly and we FaceTime. And I'm very thankful, you know, to God, because I could not have a relationship with her at all.
That's right.
She could be very resentful for me
Right.
not being there.
Right.
But she's not. She's not focused on the time that was lost. She's focused on the time we
And
have
now she
left.
can understand that you were convicted unfairly.
Right.
Let's talk about getting out of prison when you finally, after the clemency hearing. How long did it take? How many people are in that pardon hearing?
There are a lot of people, obviously my family, who were showing
I meant
support.
the decision makers.
The decision makers. So it's five.
Five.
Decision makers.
Are they all lawyers?
No. I think one, maybe two was an attorney.
Yeah.
But no. Some were in law enforcement. And you needed 4 out of 5 to say okay in order for them to let you out, right? So I went in and I said, look, I can appreciate and I respect you allowing me to be here, but today I will not be admitting to something I didn't do. I can't do that.
Right.
You know, and here is what I hope will support that.
Do you think some people may have thought, okay, they were best friends, they were roommates. I don't believe he never did it, that you didn't know about it.
Sure.
And now the other guy, Mr. Guillory, Joseph, is just trying to help you get out since your life has gone better in prison than his has. And you've helped other people while he's just kind of a real, true prisoner. Do you think some people thought that maybe?
I think some people still think that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
1,000%. It took a lot for me to not be hurt by that.
Because remember, I interrogated you quite a bit when I found out that you all were in the same house, you're in the same car. You never saw him go into come out with acting any differently.
Sure.
It is a little perplexing to tell the truth.
It is very.
Yes.
If the shoe was on the other foot, I would have a lot of the same questions.
And why did he do it? Why? Did he say why he did it when he confessed to you crying?
He just said that he was using different types of drugs. And,
he was on drugs.
Yeah, he was using different types of drugs, and whatever those drugs were, motivated him to do what he felt he wanted to do in order to, I don't know, get more drugs or whatever the case may be. I try.
And
not
you
to
didn't
go
know
into
this.
a
You
lot
didn't know
of
he was a
detail.
drug kind of addict.
No, and I try not to go into too much because when you deal with people who have done things, you try not to dig. You just let them give it to you.
Okay.
Because it contrary to popular belief, a lot of people who make horrible decisions actually feel horrible about it. I think it's a misconception.
And maybe why he stays high still.
It's a misconception to think that people just do bad things because they're bad people.
Right. In fact, this show I was telling you about where they were teaching the guys how to sew on death row in North Carolina, I think it was a maximum security prison. And the ones, like he'd start crying, talking about what he did and how her family had to, left without a mother. And he felt really bad about what he did.
Oh, yeah. And look, regardless of what Joseph has done or what he still continues to do and what happened with me and my life and my family and my child, it's very honorable that he still did what he did because he didn't have to do that.
That's right. He didn't.
He didn't have to step up and be that person. Right. And so I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah, you should be. And when you ran into Joanne, is her name, your attorney? Jane. When you ran into her in the hall and you almost bump into her, and she says right away, I'll take your case, even though you told her I'm not going to plead guilty to something I didn't do. That's kind of a sign also from the man upstairs.
Jane was heaven sent, let me tell you. She fought for me tooth and nail.
So when you got out, do they meet one day and they tell you
I went up for clemency and they made a decision to remove my life sentence. And
the same day?
Same day. And they gave me a number of years because Louisiana has no parole for life. So they have to take your life sentence and they gave you a number of years. They gave me 99 years. So now I don't have life. Now I have 99 years.
Okay.
But then they said that I can be parole eligible after 20 years.
Which you had served.
Which I had not served yet.
Well, this was 15 years.
Right. I was at this point, it was 17 years.
17 now.
Because it took a while to get to the process.
Okay.
And the hearing. It's like a 2-year process to get there, right? And so I got granted, and I still had to wait another year before I went on the parole board in front of virtually the same group of people and going there again and do it all over, not admitting guilt. And after I was successful there, I had to wait another year before my release date. And,
So you had to get to the 20 years.
yes, I had to.
That was 17. You had to do the other 3.
Yes.
And go to these meetings
Right.
while that's going on.
Yes.
So there's no way to get out, even if you're innocent, unless you do that process you had to do.
Well, they didn't let me out because I was innocent.
Right. They
Not
let
on
you.
the
You're on
record.
pardon, right?
I'm on parole.
Parole.
Like,
Do you have to meet with a parole person
I
and
have
all
a
of that?
parole officer. There's certain, expectations that I have to meet with that. There's certain
So
restrictions.
you have a record as a convicted murderer.
Yes. And
Is there a way to get that off?
There is a way to get it off. The governor can give me a true pardon, which would take away that, or find another way to go back through the court system and try to get a reversal. It's very difficult.
Yes.
At this stage. But, I did 2 years already. I still have another 74 and a half years on parole.
7, how many? 4?
74.
And a half.
Yes, on parole.
That's the 99.
Yes.
It's an amazing unfair system. It seems that some, but I would think that you're probably less than 1% of people that this may have happened to, who really were innocent, who the person who really did it confessed, and they were both in the same prison, Angola, right?
Maybe.
Here in Louisiana. I bet it's not that many that
Well,
this has happened.
Louisiana not only has one of the highest incarceration rates, Louisiana also has one of the, if not the highest exoneration rates in this country, which means Louisiana convicts more innocent people than anyone else. So much so that they changed the law that you can only get so much if you're proven innocent.
Because DNA should have exonerated you, and you told me it was non-conclusive when I asked you, because I bet people in the audience
That's right.
were going to ask, what about the DNA?
Non-conclusive.
How can it, but a long time ago, could you come back and do
I
that
came back
DNA now?
after he confessed and filed through the courts. That was one of the things, was like, let's test the gun again.
Right.
Let's see, times have changed,
Yeah.
technology has changed. And the court was like, no need to do that.
Doesn't matter. This is what
It
you got to
doesn't
do.
matter.
Yeah.
So we're
No
not
matter
even gonna,
what.
we're not even going to allow that to take place, because we're not going to even take into consideration that you're innocent. And so they denied it.
So this has nothing to do with you being innocent, basically, that you got out.
Nothing. It has to do with a group of individuals doing their best to rectify an injustice that they saw.
Right. They did at least see that. And
So much so that one of the board members lost his job afterwards.
Really?
Because my district attorney was so adamant about me being guilty, and that board member was like, how is he guilty with everything,
And they fired him?
And asked him some really probing questions, to the point to where they actually had to stop the hearing. And he came back and apologized, and that was his last hearing.
No more. Do they get paid? Of course, they get paid.
Sure.
That's a paid job.
Yeah.
So he lost his money, he lost everything, but he stood up for what he believed in.
Absolutely.
And a lot of things, as we find out in life, things like what happened to you, everything definitely is not just. But you took a course on being an air conditioner.
And no one would give me a job.
Because of the record.
Because of my record.
Because if you walk in, and I don't mean this to be derogatory, but if you walked in and I look at you, like when you came over to me, I don't see a lot of tattoos all over your face, neck, hands, legs, and you're a very professional person. And so people, when you walk in the door, are probably like, you're okay.
Oh, they love me.
Yeah, but when they see
love
that
my
you're
interview.
well-spoken.
I've had a lot of them say, oh, this is the best interview we've had. You definitely have the job. And
before they see the...
And then I get the call on Monday saying we decided to go with someone else.
Do you put on the application, I'm a convicted? What do you put on
Well, you
there?
don't have to put on the application, but they do a background check.
Yes.
So just because they took it off the application,
Yeah.
they're still going to do their due diligence.
Of course.
And when that comes back,
So it says you're on parole is what it's saying.
I'm not exactly sure what it said, but it does say I'm a convicted felon and of
murder.
Right.
That's what would scare most people, I think.
Yeah. And there was one place that gave me an opportunity, and I'm very fortunate, and you grow where you plant it.
I used to be on the Senate board, and everybody that worked there was an ex-drug addict. In fact, I did a show with one guy very similar to you. He was a drug addict, and he went to prison. He worked at Senate. He was a director there, but he went and got his master's in prison, like he was in Texas, like you did, and changed his life and his trajectory. But what made them do that at the HVAC company you work for? Any of them prisoners?
No, I had some help. I had another guy who was formerly incarcerated that was doing some work with assisting guys when they got out, finding places that would give us an opportunity.
Okay, I've worked with what's his name down there? He was a murderer, convicted murderer. He got out of Angola. Now he works with not the Clemency Board, but trying to get people.
Nonprofits. There are like a few
he works for the
nonprofits.
state, I think,
Gotcha.
doing that. And I had a show with him about 4 years ago because he was from New Orleans and he had killed somebody, and he got out of Angola, but he was really guilty.
Right.
Of murder.
And so, I walked in and they knew I had been to prison. And, they told me, they was like, look.
He pulled some strings for you.
To get the interview. Like they were.
Once you got
like,
the interview and they know already, you knew you were probably
They were like,
getting
look, we
the
don't
job.
mind hiring guys, but whether they get hired is going to be based on how they interview.
Right. Well, you had that.
And they kept their word.
Yeah.
And so, I went through a couple of interviews and, they hired me. Yeah. And I've been there ever since. I'm really grateful.
Well, it's an amazing journey that you have and a lot more to be told and a lot more that you will continue to be successful doing. Is there anything you would like to tell the youth out there, the young boys or anybody?
Yeah, definitely. I'll say this, that when you're born, most of the time you're born looking like your parents. But when you die looking like your decisions. You have to make good decisions. And sometimes that means not being in the company of individuals who are not making good decisions. So I would just say that you can't change what happened yesterday. Tomorrow isn't here yet. Live the best today that you can live so you can have a better tomorrow. Right.
And living the best, he's not talking about things because things are going to fade away.
No, things will come.
Yes.
The things that you need will come.
Yes.
What's important is that you make good decisions today to put yourself and your family in the best position to succeed and be successful in life.
Thank you very much,
Thank
Mr.
you for having me.
Singleton.
I appreciate
You're welcome. We'll see you all next week with another show. So thank you for being with us, and I think you can take part of this and show it to all your young, especially boys out there. Come on back to Dianne Andrews in Black and White next week. Have a great one. Bye-bye.
They thought all of that was silly, ridiculous, a waste of time. They didn't want that's why they were so successful. That's why they got away.
I've made a living in very dangerous.
This is really an integrated blue society. Dianne Andrews in Black and White.